I'm going to attempt to survive 100 days in Better Minecraft. This is no ordinary world. Better Minecraft makes everything enhanced to the max, like new dimensions, new caves, and new bosses I have to slay. But beware, I'm on a hard mode, so if I make one mistake, the world is gone forever. Is it even possible to beat the game? And what else is in this world? Keep watching to find out. Also, I'm trying to hit 100k by the end of the year, so I'd appreciate it so much if you subscribed and liked for 200 days. Day 1 began, and I realized I spawned on top of a mountain with so many biomes around me. Right after, I looked down and just see a giant cliff. I'm staying away from that. So I made sure to move away and grab some resources. I didn't realize there's this red type of wood, so I made sure to grab more and made a crafting table, as well as a wooden pickaxe that is useless, but shush. Our journey seemed to be going good. I even had an animal book, but I was so wrong, because I noticed these lizards in the distance until one came towards me and launched me off the cliff. I was falling right to my death, but just one water block saved me and killed it. But there was a problem. It did poison damage to me, so once it went away, I was left with one heart. Wait, guys, I think the sun's going down. I was worried. It was about to be dark and I was on one heart. I had to do everything to survive. I went and grabbed resources straight away. I needed everything. I also found these mystery eggs and some really cute monkeys, but I didn't want to get distracted. The creatures I've seen so far is nothing to what's coming up, and I was still on one singular heart. I started exploring, hoping I didn't find any mobs, and then to my luck, I found a sheep. Problem was, there's a zombie, so I started striking hits at it and took it down. That was way too close. I ended up killing another sheep and realized I need one more for my bed. I was so thankful because after a bit of exploring, I found another sheep and took it down. Since we had a bed, I made a small campsite for myself, went and mined stone, and then eventually made a furnace since we need to cook food now. While all the food was cooking, I went to sleep, and then on day 2, I collected all the food from the furnace and ate it right away. It's such a relief seeing my hearts back up. This meant we can continue exploring, so I grabbed my stuff and also went and made a pink bed. Yeah, I have a pink bed. It's manly. I eventually went through tons of new biomes until I found this staircase. It was really mysterious. I would so go down here, but I have wooden tools. We will definitely need to go back for that, but for now I finally grabbed some stone and had to deal with, yeah, that. I honestly hate creepers. Luckily that's the only mob here, because these caves are so dangerous, like really dangerous. So since I'm a dumbass, I'll probably explore them soon. For now I went and grabbed some more melons and explored tons of new biomes. Honestly, Better Minecraft is so beautiful. We'll definitely need to find a place to build a home. I'll do that in the upcoming days. For now, I see a naga in the sky. Is that the same naga from 100 Days on Lucky Block? That's impossible. I slayed him. He eventually went away. He must have not seen me. I'm glad he didn't. I need to make a home so creatures like that won't find me. So the next day I started exploring so we can find somewhere to build our base. I go through tons of new biomes, getting resources, and eventually find a nice area. But it's gonna be dark soon, and that meant the naga could be near. So I made some chests and placed all my gear into one spot. I needed to build an amazing survival base. First we needed more material, so I mined stone and then came towards a village. But this village was very mysterious. It had guards protecting it. But that's not gonna stop me from taking all your loot. I also noticed this wraith in the distance trying to attack me. It was easy to take down, but still nothing compared to the mobs that are coming up. We had to get resources if we wanted to survive. So I spent these days getting resources and eventually went home. I was ready to build the house. So I started off by making the outline and using some purple planks since purple's the best color. We used some psycho planks to build the wall and we made a box. We definitely had to improve that, so I got some fences and ended up making a roof. This was the hard part, but once we got that done, all I had to do was place some glass and then I finally finished the base. And we're not even a quarter done, so imagine my base by day 100. My plan now is to get some ores, but before we went into any caves, I found a raccoon. He seemed interested in my egg, so I gave it to him and he started washing it. He then became my pet, so I made sure to take him towards my home. He looks so cute. What should we call him? Since we now have shelter to protect ourselves from the naga, we would need to gear up if we wanted to slay it. I saw it watching my base. It must be getting ready to attack. So I started traveling until I eventually found a cave. I went down and grabbed iron that was close to me and fought some zombies that were near me. These caves are really dangerous, so I have to be careful. I go and grab some more iron, make some furnaces, and start smelting it all. If I make one mistake in these caves, I could be dead. So I finally upgrade all our stone tools to iron and make sure to make some iron armor. I went deep into the caves, killing all the mobs that are near me, and found a massive lava pool. I played it risky, bridged over. It was a life and death situation. Luckily I was able to make it and started mining deep slate. Everything seemed fine until... Okay, let's just mine this block. Wait, where are we? I thought I knew everything about these caves. Apparently not. I go and mine these skulk boxes and go back. We definitely need to explore that soon. For now, I need to get stronger. So I find diamonds, and seriously, it's a one piece. Luckily, I was able to find more, so I grab all the diamonds, and then eventually, I noticed this dungeon with dead bodies in the distance. I went inside and grabbed the journal. Barracoa is a deadly beast that rules the overworld. He harvests the power of the sun. Beware, traveler. You have not seen anything to what's coming. Who's Barracoa? He must be related to the naga. For now, I decided to go leave the cave since we geared up. I needed to find answers, so I spent a day traveling until I find my home. If we wanted to do anything, we needed max iron armor, so while my iron was smelting, I made a diamond pickaxe and used the leftover resources to build a bridge across the river. Let me know what you guys think. Now I needed to get dirt so we can start a farm. Just wait till you see how amazing it looks. So I spent ages grabbing dirt until I noticed this massive mushroom dungeon. We'll have to explore that soon. For now, I grabbed more dirt, placed it across the river, and then harvested my soil. Once that was done, my iron was also finished, so I go and make an iron chestplate, leggings, and boots. Now that I was more geared up, I tested my skills against this dungeon. I go and fight this massive skeleton and take down a zombie. It wasn't too great, but once I broke the spawner, I found this amazing loot. I collected it all and decided to go back home. I also found a forgotten hat, which I had to equip. But now here's where things get crazy, because do you guys remember those mystery eggs on the first day? I crafted a machine that let me spawn them, and I found out I had a penguin egg. I went and placed it and realized how cute this little fella is. After playing with my penguin, our base needed a brand new upgrade, so I mined a couple stacks of stone and knew it was time to build a furnace room. Smelting took too long, so I had to get rid of this problem. I go and build a nice base by adding a little bit of floor and using logs for the outline of it. Now it looks like a giant box, but we can fix that. I go and add some metal slabs, use some leftover brick to make the walls, and it was finally done. I was so lucky I finished then, because the next day I woke up and saw the naga outside of my house. I was sick of running. I was ready to take it down, so I jumped on top of trees and started firing shots at it with my bow. It was powerful though. It was shooting acid shots towards me and started diving at me. I jumped off the trees and ate right away. I know I can take this beast down. I keep using my bow to fire shots at it, but it keeps dodging. Eventually I was able to hit it once more and it gets slayed. I know I could take the naga down. I went over to collect its loot and see all these tribe members coming towards me. It was not over, and I was running out of arrows. I was able to eventually take one out, but there's still two left. I go and fire the last remaining shots in my clip and kill all of them. They also dropped something called a Mask of Bliss, which gave me a jump boost. These must be Barakoya's minions. I had to slay him, but we would need much better gear if we wanted to do that, so I said goodbye to my pet raccoon and headed off to find a cave. We really needed a diamond, so this would be a good idea. After a while, I found a narrow cave and decided to jump down. This may have been a problem though. While I was mining stone, I nearly drowned in the water. Luckily, I found a block that gave me an air spot, and I mined down all the way to a cave. And these caves are really weird. There's a giant tortoise I've never seen, but that's not why we're here. I go and collect some iron, and eventually find this giant lava ravine that looks very scary. I decided to go build over, and went and killed this massive soul witch. Right after, I went further down the caves and mined some deep slate, since who doesn't like deep slate? Luckily, while I was doing that, I found this new ore called silver, so I made sure to grab every piece, and found diamonds. These were my priority now. I went and grabbed more silver, and then eventually found a 1 piece of diamonds, and then an 8 piece. This is so good. I then smelted my iron, mined some obsidian, and created diamond leggings and boots. I knew with this gear, we would be able to take Barakoa down. We just needed to do one more thing. So while I was traveling home, I now knew I needed to make an enchantment table. So I go and mine all the sugarcane that I had, killed all these cows in the way that were vibing, and then eventually made my enchantment table. We're still missing one thing. It's not an enchantment table without an enchantment room, and I made sure to make it look amazing. So I go use some logs that I had, as well as some leftover bricks that I smelted, and placed all my library books, and enchanted my chestplate, boots, and leggings. I was now ready to explore. I was going to take Barakoa down, so from now on day 38, I spent that time traveling. I found tons of new mobs and distractions, because I've seen this giant temple. I had to explore it. What I noticed when I was there was this invisible skeletons firing at me. I knew that would be good practice against Barakoa though, so I went to the second layer and started firing against the boss skeleton. I was getting low though, so I had to take it out. I go and knock it off the building and open the chest. It had amazing loot. I go and grab everything that I needed, emoji water bucket off the temple, and started running away. We still needed to go adventure, which is surprising because do you guys remember that dungeon from day 2? Well, I found it and saw a villager inside. I was more confident to go down now, and once I did, I realized it's an underground village. I kind of wish I knew about this before, but it was perfect because these villagers had secret information about Barakoa. They knew exactly where he was, so I went and looted them and looked around. They were very helpful. I decided to go further down to this second layer, and then I felt really weird. Something felt off down here. I kept traveling and looking around, and then I noticed a skull. I saw this in the deep dark. What's going on in this world? I have to go back to that dimension once Barakoa is defeated. Once I leave the underground village, I knew my purpose, to go slay this beast. I won't let him terrorize the overworld anymore, so I spent a couple days traveling, and then realized I eventually made it to a savanna biome. This is where his village is, but there's a problem. I can only fight him at night. Once it's day, he will be too powerful. After waiting for it to be dark, I was ready to fight the Sun Chief. I used my bow to go take shots at the tribe. There were many of them, but I had to slay them all to even find out how powerful the Sun Chief was. I was able to start firing shots at its leader, but more tribal members came towards me. Luckily, I found a tree that I started firing shots at it, but it used its sun power to go deal damage to me. Luckily, the moon's up, so it's not as powerful, but I had to slay him. I only had a couple minutes, otherwise I was dead for good. The Sun Chief wouldn't even let me near him. He used his laser to get me further and further away, but I had to get towards him. His health was regenerating, and the moon was slowly going down. I was finally able to get close to him, and he launches me with his knockback attack powers. I got another chance and he launched me again. The moon kept going further down. I was starting to get really worried. I started rushing the Sun Chief, hoping I could at least get one hit onto him. But his minions kept getting in the way. I had to fix this problem now, once and for all. The sun was about to pop up. I go towards Barracoa until he unleashes his most powerful move, getting me to 1 heart. I used my water bucket to get away and saw the sun slowly coming up. Thankfully, I realized that Barracoa was distracted, so I used my sword to get some blast hits onto him and slay him. The Sun Chief has been defeated before sun's rise. I go and grab his mask and watch the sun finally come up. I thought I finally won, but I was so wrong. I just realized our journey has only began because I entered the village and realized there's deep dark blocks everywhere. Huh? What's going on? I have to find more about these. Why are these appearing everywhere? Is it from the Warden? We have to find out. For now, I started traveling and realized that Mushroom Dungeon was there. Not too long later, we eventually made it home. If that dimension I went to in the caves has been causing chaos, I have to destroy its ruler. But before we did that, we would have to get stronger. While we're at home, I added some decorations to our base, such as this gigantic pillar, which I ended up decorating and finally made it my chest room. And I'm not gonna swim over to get to it, so I went and placed some glass to make a nice little glass and wooden bridge. Now it's time to extend our journeys. I went and made another bridge, but this time to make my nether portal. I go and place deep slate slabs just to add a little bit of texture towards my bridge, and it was finally done. I was kind of scared going into this portal because this dimension is nothing like a normal nether. I was worried. I haven't gone here yet for a reason, but I knew I could get powerful gear in the nether, so that was my plan. I go and take down a gas and then find some quartz. And if you know me, you know I love quartz, as well as this brand new ore called ruby. I had to collect more, so I go mine some quartz as well as some sinacite. Go further down inside this gigantic nether ravine and find some more ruby. This ore is amazing for armor. Since I got enough ruby, I went and collected tons of quartz and finally went back to my nether portal. We have to explore more of the nether soon, but I knew I needed to upgrade my armor, so I made a ruby chest plate as well as a helmet. I was going to enchant them too, so I made some bookshelves, harvested my crops, and eventually replanted all of them. We went to my enchantment table right after and got protection 1 on the helmet and chest plate. Now, I found more about the deep dark when I explored, so I decided to go exploring on day 58 and found this giant mosquito trying to attack me. It also had a paralyzed sting, so it was dealing a hefty amount of damage to me. I was on 1 heart and I did not want to die right now. Not this way. So I have this opportunity to jump in the water and eventually kill this mosquito. How am I able to kill a Sun Chief but nearly die to a mosquito? Yeah, I wanted to get out of Australia. I mean the desert because of this reason. I went and killed this fiend, and then right after I decided to go explore. Luckily, while I was traveling, I found this village that was actually being attacked by a pillager. I used my bow to fire shots at it and slayed it. I also stole their diamond chest plate. Sorry about that. These villagers actually ended up knowing something about the deep dark, so I promised to kill a pillager outpost if they told me. Once I arranged this deal, I traveled through a badlands biome and eventually found the pillager outpost. I came in with no mercy and knew I had to take them all down. They were ready to fight though, but I wasn't going down like this. Unfortunately, there was a lot surrounding me and they did a lot of damage, getting me down to 1.5 hearts. I was able to run away, take some of my bread, and slay one of the pillagers. There were a lot more to come. I wanted to find out about the deep dark and I wasn't stopping here. I go fire shots, take down the last pillager, and loot their base. Well, they had no loot, so I kind of left being disappointed, but I knew I could get information from the villagers, so I went right back to the village and started talking to one of the guards. How do I defeat the deep dark? He told me fighting the ruler of the deep dark, the warden, was useless unless I get the knight's weapon. Luckily, I found out though that he was underground, so I went to go and check the cemetery and I didn't find anything besides a totem of undying. I mean, I would take that. Since I now knew he was underground, I decided to go travel home and get more prepared. I started off by enchanting my diamond chestplate with protection 2, and then I walked back to my base and got a message alerting me of a harvest moon. It makes my crops grow faster, so I'm probably not going to sleep tonight. I go and add some decorations to my place like glowstone and noticed that my raccoon's HEROBRINE. He also noticed this weird goblin in the distance that has worse traits than a wandering traveler. So you're telling me that one enchantment was worth 3 emeralds? No, it wasn't. After being scammed by a golem, I went and added some decorations to our base. I went and added another side just to go outline our crops and it looked amazing. But now since I've done everything, I was ready to finally find that knight. I started exploring right away and knew that I was in for a challenge. Seriously, I may have been unprepared. This knight is deadly. Because after a bit of traveling, I found his lair. I MLG water bucket down and saw all his minions waiting for me. I had a bow for a reason, so I started using it to fire shots and eventually decided to jump down. Now I knew they were all chasing me, so I had to go through this dungeon as fast as I can. I began fighting all the minions that were blocking my way and continued exploring this dungeon. After fighting countless and countless of the undead, I went through some barrels, got some new diamond tools, but then everything changed after fighting these zombies. I went to check this barrel and saw a fire dragon egg. I wonder if I can ride him. We'll find out. For now, I start fighting more mobs that are in the way and detonate this TNT. I kinda had to, but it ended up rewarding me because after I ate this gold apple, I realized that the knight was behind this rock. So I used my diamond pickaxe to mine out the wall until I realized that I've made it to the knight's lair. I had to be quiet though. He didn't know I was here yet until I eventually went too close and he woke up. He was ready to attack. He came towards me with his massive axe and started striking at me. I spent this time trying to find out what his weakness was. After eating the gold apple, I was prepared until he got me stuck, but luckily that totem of Undying saved me. The problem was I only had one life with it left and I used it. I now had to play this more strategically. I go and mine out the side just so I can hide from him and use tactics to try and get behind him. If I make one mistake now, I'm dead. Good news though, I was able to find out how to take him down. I realized his sword was his weak spot, so I knew this was my only way to take down the knight. I was finally able to get him low. I kept using my tactics to try avoid him and eventually got him to one more hit. I just needed to hit him once more, so I go and charge towards him, go behind him and strike. I finally slayed the knight and now I was able to get his weapons to get to the deep dark. Once I was safe, I grabbed his battle axe and started traveling home as fast as I can. I knew that this beast, the Warden, was a powerful boss, so we had to be prepared. For now it was raining and I just really wanted to get back home. I was so happy when I was able to find it, but these zombies were in the way, so I made sure to test my battle axe against them and realized how powerful this was. The next day, before I made any plans, I had to take care of my dragon egg, so I craft fences to keep it somewhere safe and place it in the center. Since this dragon egg is going to take a while to hatch, I thought on day 70 I would add some details to the base. I go and grab all the quartz that are in my chest and thought it would be a really cool idea just to add a white quartz outline onto the river, and it looked amazing. Honestly, quartz makes anything better. Once I did that, I knew we were days away from going to the deep dark. I wanted to go to the nether first though. My plan was to find a fortress just so we could go slay the ender dragon before it's day 100. I went and found a fortress now just so I could get nether bricks and coordinates for later. While I was exploring, I ended up grabbing some bone blocks, went through a bastion village, and then eventually found the fortress. While I was here, I went and grabbed some nether bricks just so we can use them for a future build, and then eventually save the coordinates and left. I'm not gonna get eyes at ender for now because the fortress gets more dangerous the deeper you go in, and I knew since I've achieved everything I wanted to do, it was time to go to the deep dark. While the sun was going down, I went and woke up, harvested all my crops so we can go make some bread, and started traveling right away. I had to find a cave. Unfortunately, a group of pillagers came towards me, so I made sure to use my battle axe as well as bow to fire shots at them. I went and took one of the pillagers down and then used my battle axe to strike against it. I wonder how useful this is going to be against the Warden. I eventually found a cave, but it was really narrow, but it was the only way down, so I go through the water cave and then notice a problem. I was losing tons of water bubbles and there's no entrance, so I made sure to go break a block and I luckily survived. Once I entered the cave, I knew I had to get below bedrock, so I start mining down until I eventually find a deep dark dimension portal. We finally made it back to the deep dark dimension. I was ready to find out what goods and what beasts were down here. I started mining down, making a strip mine and finding an 8 vein of diamonds. Right after, I found a cave and saw that the Warden was inside. He was ready, so I made sure to go break out and started firing shots at his mobs. My battle axe couldn't reach him from here, so I went down and started fighting more skulk zombies until they eventually got me low. I was a bit worried, but I made sure to build up so they couldn't hit me. I went and killed the remaining zombies and placed torches everywhere so no more spawn. I made sure to collect some diamonds on the floor as well and started using my bow to hit the Warden. The problem was my battle axe could not reach him, so I tried to get closer, but I saw he was charging right towards me. I ran in fear and then placed a couple blocks to protect myself. I was terrified. If he hit me once, I'm dead. I knew if I wanted to win this, I had to play the long range game. I kept firing arrows into the Warden until I eventually slayed him. I finally defeated the Warden. I go and collect all the diamonds that are near and adventure more of the deep dark. I felt really scared going through this mine shaft. Who knows what could be down here? Luckily, it was just a skulk zombie, so I grabbed some more diamonds that are near, find another skulk zombie, and opened a chest. Once I looted it, I knew we were ready to go, so I go back from the mine shaft and go back to the overworld. It was finally great seeing land again, but when I came back home, I came back to a surprise because when I turned around the corner on day 79, I realized our dragon is hatched, and I knew the small dragon boy and I are gonna finally defeat the ender dragon in an epic battle, but he still needed to grow up, so we had some time to spare. I went over to my chest and grabbed my quest book and realized I have so much rewards I need to collect. How on earth did I forget to do this? But besides getting XP, it gave me nether stars as well, so I crafted 2 beacons right away. I then made a deep slate bridge and went to grab all the iron from my chest, but the problem was we didn't even have enough for like 1 beacon, which meant it was all mining time again. Also, our dragon was getting bigger. I went into a cave right away and grabbed every single vein of iron I found. This took days and days. I even had to fight zombies, like seriously, but it was all worth it because I grabbed a few more veins of iron, placed it all in my furnace and smelted all of it, and then started working on the beacon. 1 done, only 1 more to go. Once the remaining iron was smelted, I went and made my 2nd beacon, and we were finally done. I decided to go put speed on it, and then I put haste on the other beacon. It adds a cool detail to the base too. Also, I went and recharged my pickaxe as well as my diamond chest plate, and after all of that, my dragon finally matured into an adult. This meant we could fly him. So without hesitation, I went towards him, placed a saddle on him, and kind of failed to get on a couple times, but eventually we finally got onto the dragon. Oh, wait, we're in the air. Oh my god, this is actually so cool. Knowing me, I tried to go as high as we can. That was probably not a good idea. We also nearly died. But now that our dragon was matured and we finally had max enchanted armor, we were ready to slay the Ender Dragon. But first, we have to survive the fortress, which is the hard part since there's new creatures everywhere. So before I go to the nether, I harvest my crops, make sure to replant them right after, and then go towards my nether portal. Also, while I was going in, I just see my dragon stare at me like this. I start exploring the nether as fast as I can. We only had a few days to get all the blaze rods. Luckily, I had the cord save, so I keep traveling, start bridging across the lava lake, and then finally find the fortress. I try to find a blaze spawner, but this withered skeleton was blocking the way, so I charged at him to take him down and started fighting some blazes that were in the way. I kept exploring the nether fortress though, ended up grabbing some nether quartz, and then finally found the blaze spawner. The problem is, there's more than blazes that just spawn, so I try to get as close as I can to the blaze spawner to take a few blazes out. After slaying one, I was able to get his blaze rod. Unfortunately, more blazes spawned as well as wildfires, which is super deadly. I was constantly on fire, and I only had 2 blaze rods, so I had to play this tactical. I went to a nether wall to go avoid its flames, and then I eventually went close and took one down. It gave me 2 blaze rods, now I only need a few more. Luckily, I was able to get them all and started running away. Time was running out, and I needed ender pills, so I go slay any endermen that were close to me, and eventually, after killing a few, I got to 7 ender pills, then all the way to 12. I made Isaac ender straight away and left the nether. All we had to do now was find the stronghold, and with my dragon, it won't be a problem. That's right, I'm taking my ender dragon to the inn, so I made sure to harvest crops, replanted them, and said goodbye to my pet raccoon. And now that I had everything, me and my dragon set off to find the stronghold. I go place an eye ender and realize that the stronghold is northeast, so I made sure to keep going that way through tons of new biomes and lakes until it eventually got stormy. Me and my dragon ended up fighting tons of mobs together and kept looking for the stronghold. After days and days of exploring, I finally placed my eye ender and realized we were right above the stronghold, so I go mine down and find a massive place to explore. We weren't here for too long though. Me and my dragon wanted to get to the end and slay that ender dragon right away. So I went and grabbed ores that were near me, and after a while of grabbing them and searching around, I found the ender portal room. Luckily, I didn't lose any eyes at ender, so I made sure to go place them all until the portal was lit up. Me and my dragon were ready to go in. Once we made it, I knew things were about to go down. I get up and get on top of the saddle and start flying towards the ender dragon. I'm not going to lose. 100 days led to this, so I start firing shots at all the end crystals that are near me and go take them down. I thought we were gonna win. Flying around made this easy. We even started flying the dragon with a bow, but I was wrong because the dragon turned around and slayed my fire dragon. Things could change now. I got all the way down to 2.5 hearts and I lost from one of my friends. I had to get revenge. I took a golden apple and bowed down the dragon. I had to kill him. I had to revenge my friend, but it was going to be hard. I knew we could do it though. But then he launches me all the way up into the air. I was worried, but luckily I had a water bucket and I MLG water bucket saved myself. I was angry now. I had to slay this beast no matter what. I kept hitting the dragon, hoping I can eventually kill it. Hits and hits going on and on until it reached day 100. I was running out of time, but I was able to. After ages and ages, I slayed the ender dragon. Yes, we slayed the ender dragon. We've finally done it on day 100. Yeah, I still think the jungle island was much worse though.